That was Donald J. Trump, and he just got shot in the face. Yeah, how did we get here? Well, to know that, we have to go back to the 3rd of July, 2024, when Donald Trump's presidential campaign would announce a rally at the Butler Farm Showgrounds in the state of Pennsylvania, which, at the time, our friend Sleepy Joe and the Democrats were trying to yoink from him. This was probably because Pennsylvania is known to be one of the world's biggest producers of ice cream, and we know how much Joe loves his ice cream. Anyway, after assessing the site to ensure there would be no obvious places for an assassin to hide, the Secret Service would give the go-ahead for the rally organisers to begin setting things up, like these super secure fences. As super secure as these fences were, they would later be unfortunately no match for this guy, Thomas Matthew Crooks, a certified nerd, alleged Reddit mod, and unfortunately a murderer. But for now in this story, he is just a 20-year-old nerd and alleged Reddit mod. Growing up, Thomas seemed like a troubled kid, often being bullied at school and generally being known as an outcast, which, let's face it, you can tell why. But I'm sure despite these challenges, Thomas would be doing something positive with his life, right? After all, just 2 years ago, he had graduated high school. Yeah. No. Thomas had decided not to pursue further education, and had become even more of an outcast, distancing himself from the few friends he had. Now, this is not exactly unusual for people to do. Everyone goes through hard times, but one thing not everyone does is go and get their father's gun, along with 50 rounds of ammunition, with a plan to assassinate an ex-president. Now, Thomas's motive for what he was about to attempt is not currently known, but one thing we do know is that on the morning of the rally, Thomas would hop in his car with his equipment and begin the 2-hour drive to the Butler Farm Showground, where tens of thousands of Trump supporters had started to gather. However, Trump had not yet arrived. So, in preparation, foolproof security measures were being prepared, such as local law enforcement, Secret Service personnel, and counter-snipers, for the off chance there would be a sniper assassin, which I'm sure would just be cautionary. While the Secret Service was setting up foolproof security measures, Thomas would arrive at around 5 PM, and would instantly begin doing what any normal citizen would do. Who's that weird guy over there? What guy? That guy over there? What's in his hand? I don't know. It looks to me like a rangefinder. Don't be silly! Does this look like a golf course? No, that's the point. I mean, what do you think he's gonna do? Use the rangefinder to find the best place to take a shot at the president from? Don't be ridiculous. I think we should be taking this more seriously. Fine! We'll have it your way, Neil. I'll let everyone know. So, after Thomas was spotted with a literal rangefinder, the Secret Service would spring into action by doing absolutely nothing. Fast forward 30 minutes, and Thomas was noticed again. This time, not with a rangefinder, but with a 5-foot ladder and a very suspicious looking guitar case. You'd think the Secret Service would be all over this, but no. They only found out about Thomas's new gear because some worried bystanders pointed it out to them, and even then, they didn't exactly leap into action. I mean, it's not like they had already taken notes of Thomas being suspicious earlier, or anything. Oh wait, they had. Look at that goon over there with the ladder and guitar case, walking directly to the building, which happens to be perfectly in line with where Trump wants to do his speech. Isn't that the same guy we saw using the rangefinder? Neil, wow, you have a great memory. It is. Are you gonna do anything about it? I'll radio it to the team. And what are they gonna do? Absolutely nothing. And thus, Thomas was left to do exactly what he wanted. With this freedom, Thomas would wander straight into the event, clearly bypassing security, which probably wasn't that hard judging from how they secure fences. Once Thomas entered the rally, he would begin walking towards a building directly in line with the stage. He would go behind the building and using his ladder would climb onto the roof, where he was sighted by a member of the public at 5:52 p.m. While on the roof, he would army crawl to the side of the roof which was in line with the stage, all the while dragging his sus guitar case along with him. However, all this sus behaviour had begun to attract a crowd of people who were pretty concerned with his abnormal behaviour. Members of the crowd would begin to take videos and would alert the authorities. "Sir, you have to do something. A young man with long hair, who seems like an alleged Reddit mod, just climbed on top of the roof, directly in sight of the president. In fact, it's only like 150 foot from the stage. You have to do something." Is that it? Is there anything suspicious about him? He's on the roof with a guitar case with him, possibly the perfect thing to conceal, I don't know, a sniper? Don't be ridiculous. He's probably just trying to get a better view. How do my shades look? You don't understand. He might shoot the president. Wow, talk about a drama queen. Jeez. Well, if it makes you feel better, we have actually been keeping tabs on this guy the entire time. And you have not done anything? No, why would we? As a matter of fact, it was not just the Secret Service officers who currently had tabs on him, but the counter-sniper team also. However, they also chose not to do anything about him. So, as far as things had been going, everything had played into Thomas's hands. However, this was about to change. You see, the problem was Trump was not yet on stage. So, he had to wait, which could be a problem, because sitting on a roof would likely arouse suspicion, right? Yeah. No. Nobody did anything. Thomas was left to sit on the roof and do whatever he wanted. Eventually, after 10 minutes of waiting, Trump would walk on stage around 6:03 p.m. When Thomas saw this, his evil plan would begin to unfold pretty rapidly. Thomas would reach into his suspicious guitar case and whip out something that in fact was not a guitar, and in fact was an AR-15. And let me remind you, this all happened in the view of the public and in the view of the snipers. Now, with basically every single member of the Secret Service and law enforcement being aware of this, I'm sure they would finally act and neutralize the threat before anything tragic happened. Don't you think we should do something? The guy on the roof has literally just whipped out an AR-15. Yes, that does seem pretty dangerous. Maybe we should do something. Maybe you should do something. Isn't protecting the president your job? Shut up, Neil. My job is to stand around wearing shades and looking cool. How dare you think otherwise? Fine. I'll do it. And thus, a uniformed officer would go up to the building Thomas was perched on, and would attempt to climb Thomas's ladder in order to confront him. However, he ran into a problem pretty fast. That problem happened to be the barrel of Thomas's gun. Being pretty startled, the police officer would faceplant off the ladder in the view of the public, which I would assume would have been pretty embarrassing. Now that the law enforcement had at least attempted to try stop Thomas, you would think that maybe considering he had a gun and had just pointed it at an officer, maybe, just maybe, it was time for the Secret Service to engage with him, you know, before Thomas did anything like, I don't know, shoot the president in the face. I tried to stop him, but he pointed a gun at me. I had no choice but to abort. Oh, okay, what does this mean then? Well, it means there's a suspicious guy on the roof, in the line of sight of the president, who is now on stage. Oh, and he has a gun. Oh. Neil? What? How do you like my shades? As you can tell, the Secret Service were very concerned about the gunman on the roof, so much so that they did nothing. As we know, at 6:03 PM, Trump would begin to get on stage, and by 6:09, Trump's speech was well underway. Donald Trump was now under fire, and this time it wasn't by CNN. It turns out that at 6:10 PM, Thomas had used his 4 eyes to aim his AR-15 and shoot one time, and then miss. He would then shoot one more time, and then miss. He would then shoot one more time, and miss again. He would then do this 5 more times, missing every single shot. While this was going on, the Secret Service counter-snipers were watching this unfold. Hey, you know that guy we were told had a gun and was laid on top of that building over there in eye line of Trump? Well, do you think we should do something? Absolutely not. Why? He's clearly going to try shoot the president. Well, we could shoot him now, or we could wait till... We should definitely shoot him right now. No, let's wait a bit. In the aftermath of the shooting, Trump would be wrestled to the ground by the Secret Service. Fortunately, after about 20 seconds of shooting, the counter-snipers managed to dome Thomas, before he managed to get any more shots off, which was probably the only good thing they managed to do that day. In response to the shooting, Trump clearly had his priorities right, and would stand up in the middle of the stage and ask the officers where his shoes were, as they must have fallen off during the kerfuffle. After getting his beloved shoes on, Trump would then raise his fist and shout "fight" 3 times. He then would not fight at all and walk off stage into an armoured car, which would then be escorted straight to the hospital. Fortunately, Trump's only injuries seemed to be just a cut ear. Now, after all this happened, I'm sure there would be a deep analysis into the Secret Service's failings, which I assume probably went something like this. Hey guys, I'm sure you're aware of the recent events. Maybe in future, could you maybe do a better job at your job? Now, after all had been said and done, I guess there is one thing that is clear, and that is, Thomas Crook did end up in fact being a crook. But luckily for America, and probably the rest of the world, he wasn't a good one. In the aftermath, Biden would respond by completely giving up. So, I guess in the end, the bullet may have hit Trump, but it really killed Biden.